Now for the track guide. Guys, before starting, if you want to improve at a quicker pace, check out my sim racing courses in the video description. Now going into the track guide itself, for turn 1, the reference for braking around here and for turning in will be the ending of this grayish part on the right side, or the ending of the wall on the right side. When that ends, you want to turn into the corner, and this first 2 corners is all about keeping that minimum speed up. You want to avoid braking too much. So we're using the brakes just to make the car point, not to overslow the car. In this case, turning at this wall, just applying a tiny bit of brakes. You see 22% under brakings in 4th gear. We don't want to cut too much in the first apex. We just want to hit around the red and white curb, and then we don't want to go all the way here on the right side. We want to minimize the distance traveled, and that's how we will gain time into this first part. So keep a narrow line, hold the brakes all the time, don't drop the brakes at any moment because you need that rotation. You just will downshift to 3rd gear to get a bit more rotation from that. Now for the next curb you want to cut a lot. Look how much steering angle we're using when cutting, so you really need to put and cut a lot this curb all the way to the lighter color part of the curb, and you will stay on this curb up until you see the white part of the ending of the curb here, where my mouse pointer is. When this appears in your windshield, you should push the throttle and you should be expecting to reach all the way this curb. Even before reaching the curb, you should be pressing the brake. So the rhythm is a long trail braking, a narrow line, then cutting the second curb. When you see the ending of the second curb, you will just put a bit of throttle, and when you see that the car is pointing towards this outside part, drop the throttle, get back on the brakes. Don't use more than this because it's gonna be an off track in 3rd gear, and now you will turn more and more with the brake still applied. When you start to see the curb around here, you will push the throttle, and you should be expecting to cut it almost like this. Look how much you can get away with in terms of cutting. So there's a lot of lap time to be found if you're exploiting these curves. Now on your exit, on your way out, you should be arriving this curve right here. Take it in the middle of the car with the left tires on the white line and you'll be good. You'll be arriving into this part of the track, and once again you need to exploit everything that you have around here. So the right tires should be on the white line. In terms of reference for braking here, the moment that you straighten up the car, that's generally the moment that you will brake. So look, if we play it back from this point in time, you're bringing the car, now you're straightening the wheel, and then you will brake. So because you want to brake with the steering wheel straight, because you're going downhill, the grip will be a bit lower for braking, so it's a lot easier to trigger the ABS. So make sure you're doing this with 0 degrees on your steering wheel angle. You will go to 3rd, then 2nd, because you will go uphill, and you need a really tight line around here. So make sure you're hitting the white and red curb, then pushing the throttle, using all this space. If you're not using it, it means you don't get away with the proper speed. Now bringing the car on the right side, and around here in terms for reference for braking, once again you will straighten up the car, make sure you have 0 degrees on the steering wheel, and the moment that you see in your windshield that this white line starts to go to the left side like this, well, that's the moment that you will apply the brake. So you're looking at this white line in front of you. When you see that it goes towards the left, you apply the brakes. You go in 3rd, then 2nd, you cut this curb a lot, keep a very tight line, and in the middle of the curb you're pressing the throttle. You should be expecting to reach this curb around here, so use this space, then you turn into this corner flat out like this, and notice how much we can cut. Right tire should still be on the curb. Now we're bringing the car all the way to the left. This is very similar with the second braking zone. You need to push the car with the right tires, having them not on the white line but on the tarmac to avoid the off track braking. But here the only difference is that you can carry a bit more speed. So still in 4th gear, just barely holding the brakes like this, using a bit of throttle to make the car more stable, but also to carry a bit more speed as well. And the moment that you get to see this anti-curb on the left side in front of the car, that's the moment that you should be applying the brakes, braking a straight line. You can do this corner in 3rd gear. Second gear is going to be a bit easier, but if you can do it in third, it's going to be a tiny bit quicker because you have a bit more RPM, so you can get away with that. And now there comes a really difficult corner because it's a blind corner. Bring the car all the way to the right side, and the moment that this antenna here on the right side, this pillar or the traffic light start to disappear from your windshield, that's the moment that you will turn into the corner. So you're turning when those two things on the right side are not yet in your vision. Then you will turn with 100% throttle, do a lift when you're near the curb, make sure you're cutting the curb like this, then apply the brakes while you're straightening up the car, and then when you're turning, still hold the brakes. So never drop the brakes up after you apply them, because you need that build up of rotation. Go to second gear for this corner, and when you're in the middle of the curb, push the throttle very aggressively. You can cut this curb like this, it's gonna be fine. Same for the next one, just cut it, find the shortest spot. And now into the last corner, the braking reference will be before the curb. So it will be like one car length before the curb. In fourth gear, applying the brakes, when go into third, the car will be unstable. So you might need to counter steer a tiny bit while you're doing the braking. And then go to second finally when you get to this curb. Keep a very tight line and use the curb around here. It will push you wide, but that's fine because you need a very early throttle application. This leads to a big straight, so make sure on the exit you're using all this space around here. And in short, that's a lap. It's a very difficult circuit and the car is not so easy to drive around here, so make sure you take it easier. And once again, if you want to find the tools to get better at sim racing, understand racing technique, and find how you can really push the car to the limit, I suggest checking out the link in the video description, GITGUDRacing.com. Thanks for watching, thanks for sticking around, looking forward to see you in the next one. Bye bye.